The engine is starting up. 3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us?
Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Sensitive/offensive content disclaimer. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Good evening, travelers and those alike. Welcome to the Orion Effect right here on the R.I.F.T Nation Network. That's right. I am the quintessential cosmic surfer himself, the Hitman.
I'm Rhonda Harris.
We are there. We are here. We are everywhere.
Right, that's right.
Only getting more and more. That's right. That's right. Tonight's show is brought to you by, let's see if I can get this set right. GOS, Ghosts of Staunton, Virginia. Get your tour schedule for the year. Check out one of the most haunted cities in Virginia, if not in the United States. Check out the history of the Shanandoah Valley while you're in Virginia. Check out all the magnificent things we have to offer. Also, tonight's show is brought to you by Hargrave Military Academy, making boys into men since 1908, encouraging leadership, studies, and and morals for over 100 years. Check out Hargrave Military Academy today. Welcome to the show, everybody, and thank you for being here. I will step aside and allow Miss
All
Veronica
right.
to say, "Oh, hello."
Hello, our teammate Ashley Herndon here, Michelle Klecker Caps, Renee Cody. Thanks for sharing us out. Let's see. Renee said, just a heads up, we need one more on the R.I.F. Nation Network page to hit 700. So somebody go out there and like us so we hit that 700 number if you haven't already.
Come join us.
Hello, Don Weiler. Hello, Kristen Coleman, another one of our lovely teammates. I saw a lot. Okay. Mort Ali, hello. Cindy Waghorn, hello. Judy Atkins, hello. Thanks for
Hello.
joining us.
Yes. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much. We do have a wonderful guest. We'll be bringing him on in just a few minutes. Boo's Paranormal in the House. Hello, Boo's. Thank you
Hello.
for joining us. Uh, it's been an interesting last couple weeks. How are you guys this evening? Well, she's going right before we start talking. Look at that. Kristen's in the house. I'm doing well. Thank you. I've got my coffee. It's been an interesting weekend. I deplugged myself.
It's always
Uh,
good.
it's sometimes needed, actually. Sometimes it's needed. Set myself up with something else too, something I haven't done, but I think I'm returning back to my mentors in the next couple weeks. So there may be times that I am unable to communicate. That is because I'm in class study or I'm in a special project. So we're looking forward to what's about to come down the pike. You see now we are changing. We're growing. We're growing. Excellent, Don. That's what we want to hear. Now, with that being said, we do have a special announcement. If I'm sure you've already seen it, that's right. Uncharted Journeys are here. That's right. We have a new show starting Friday with two magnificent women who are in the chat as we speak right now. This will be, let's try that again. This will be a unique show. It's not all paranormal. It's not all spiritual. It's not all supernatural. They're going to go to different places with these young ladies. They're going to look at unusual events and unusual locations, not just paranormal.
Nice.
So get your Uncharted journey ready to go. It's here. It's time. We also have a new show that'll be coming out soon. So look for those little teasers as we have been doing to come to the network. It's been an interesting week.
Yeah. It's
I
been
will-
a lot of energy, but a lot of good energy. It's I feel like, I mean, a lot of people are feeling that. They're feeling the twist. We've got, coming into some new stuff. Yesterday was 2/22 for a day, so that was a day to be making some stuff happen. If I wasn't on Benadryl, I could tell you what today is, but we go out of one thing and into another. That I know, astrology was.
I'm not
I
going to
was
lie.
researching it last night, and like today, I'm just like foggy headed. But
Yeah.
the great thing is I took Benadryl because I believe spring is coming because my allergies have been off the charts today.
Yes.
So.
Yes. I would say we're not too far off now. Just a little bit longer in this crazy winter sensation that we have going on. Just a little bit longer. Hang in there, you guys. Also, this is a time for birth. So we're about to come out of the winter season, go into spring. It's a good opportunity, a time to check ourselves, our boundaries, and our places, and rise above the things that we feel maybe have been holding us in, out, or about. It's time for release. Drop your new seed. Let's get ready to plant some new magic. Looking forward to this. Looking forward to this indeed. Yes. What else do we got going? You said you're feeling a little down, so I take it you didn't do a whole lot this weekend?
I mean, this just hit me today was allergies, but I didn't do a lot this weekend. This was our first weekend off after 3 weeks of investigating every Saturday night. So I did just stay around the house and got some stuff done and that kind of thing. So it was a good weekend. I didn't unplug, but I did slow down this weekend. So
that is good. Unfortunately, my sister from another mother, we have to handle a little bit of business, you guys, right now. So please bear with us while we take care of that. And if y'all know what that means, then you know what this means. Goodbye. Thank you. And have a nice life. All right. Very good. Now we can move on. We had to flush a little business down the toilet. That's how we do it around here. Before we bring our guest on, I got caught off because I saw Don's name pop up. And, I'm an 80s kid. I was thinking, Don Walter? What? Heavy metal went right through my head. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. All I can hear is dun 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 dun. I was like, oh no, wrong person. But Don, thank you for popping in. And those of you that are not in chat but you're watching, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch or Facebook, jump in, say hi, holler with us. I see he made it back in. I know our guest is having a little network connection issues, so we're going to bring him on in just a second. However, again, drop in, have a seat, come down to the Cosmic Coffee table with us, sit down, ask your questions, and enjoy the show. And say hello. Let us acknowledge you. You, after all, are the reason why we're here. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's that time. Rhonda, do you feel like it's that time?
it's always that time. Let's do it.
It's always that time. I could not agree with you more. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to get us ready here. Doctor, would you like to do the honors and introduction?
Absolutely. Welcome, fellow travelers, to another thrilling episode of the Orion Effect. Tonight, we have a special guest, the incredible author David Sims, known for Fear the Reaper. Stay tuned for an exciting journey through the depths of his mind and beyond. Let's dive in.
Could not say it better myself, sir. Thank you so much. Let's get him set. Well, it's not letting me. There we go. We've got that there. And as we are doing new things, he is in the house. David, hello.
Hello. How you doing there?
Doing well. How are you, sir?
Good. I think my little connectivity issues are a thing of the past. I think my stress level probably caused some electrical interference there, but I'm raring to go. And like you were saying, I'm looking forward to that spring energy.
Yes.
Isn't that always the case, though? And you are so right. When you are having technical difficulties, it just gets worse because of your own energy and your own anxiety about the technical. So usually if you just step away and go, okay, we're going to fix this now, it'll start working again. It's the honest truth.
Yeah. You know what? There's a heck of a lot of science to back that up. I had a grandmother who couldn't wear a wristwatch because every time she got stressed, it actually stopped working. Students of mine, when they get anxious, their computers freeze, everything else. So it's a thing. It's been proven. So and with everything going on right now, I'm surprised that more things aren't failing. So
true.
This is true. This is true. And speaking of that, how are things in Staunton, Dave? How are things going there? And how is GOS?
Pretty good. Stanton's plugging along like it always does. I love driving through it and just kind of seeing what kind of new things are happening all the time. And now I think we're going to be free of that white stuff for quite a bit. I'd be happy about that.
Me too.
And the Ghost Stanton are raring to go for the new season. My first tour comes up sometime in March. don't have the exact date, but I'm raring to go and looking forward to season 12, which means I'm getting pretty old. So at least mentally.
Yeah, I feel you.
Mentally, I'm about 1,000, so I'm good.
And for those who are new here, for those of you tuning in from some of our Virginia groups, the reason we are broadcasting to these groups is because this is a Virginia-based show. David is a Virginia author and a Virginia resident, talking about different locations and Staunton, Virginia, of course. So if anybody's asking, and why are you on this group? Well, because this is a part Virginia tonight. This is a Virginia show. What? For lovers. Hope y'all like that. Yeah. Now let's continue with that for a moment, so people know you are one of the tour guides on GOS of Ghosts of Staunton. I'm sure you've experienced. I know for a fact you have. I'm just putting it out there. Some interesting things, and you were talking about your students. Now, has your students ever encountered anything interesting and brought it to your attention during class? Or what about some of your tours? Have they come to you and talked to you about different things?
Absolutely. Well, the one thing is they're talking about the students and computer things. So let me start there real quick because that's an easy story, and then I'll go right to the tour. I'm a psychology teacher / professor / counselor, whatever. I do a million things wrong. And so one time, one thing I specialize is anxiety, which I think a lot of us are dealing with these days. And I had dealt with a girl a few years ago. She always used to come. I had a nice couch in my room. And every time she sat on my couch, my wireless mouse just freaked out, started going all over the screen. And I would tell her, I was like, you know what? Your name? I said, can you please stop that? She's like, I am so sorry. And she would move to a different spot in the room. It would stop. Every day I would have tons of kids sitting on my couch, just hanging out, having lunch, never had an issue. She comes in, sits down, and he goes nuts. And like we tracked it so many times, and just wild that her energy just sent this thing into like the stratosphere. And it's fascinating stuff. And she's been on a tour many times. And while she hasn't had any paranormal encounters per se, her energy has been quite active. So it happens quite often, and she says no matter where she goes, weird stuff follows, whether it's paranormal or whether it's her own energy or something else. But I've had a number of younger students who they come on my tours, and weird things happen. Lights flicker, a little cold spot here or there, something goes on. And I think it's really fascinating that happens more and more with the kids I work with instead of the adults. So whatever reason that may be, whether it's less interference going on or whatever, but it's fascinating. And I still talk to this one girl. I said, how are things going? She's like, great. My computer only shut down 5 times this week. So, yeah. And and it was just funny because like I'm of course today, you were talking about your allergies. I've been dealing with barometric migraine today. Of course, it's hard. So again, of course, this computer goes on a fritz for the first time ever. So I'm blaming you, Howie. So,
I'm surprised I haven't had one yet. I have lucked out this entire year. I haven't had a barometric migraine in a while. Thank Lord, knock on wood. But man, those things can be hell.
Yeah.
Absolute hell.
Yeah, not complaining about like it being so nice today and warm, but we went from one extreme to the other really quick. And we've been bopping back and forth the last 3 weeks like that.
Absolutely.
So
with saying that, I've got to give a little bit more props because I failed to do it. Shame on me. I need to give a little props out to the Park Club here in Roanoke, Virginia, and all the wonderful ladies there, all the entertainers. We did go to a show today for brunch. So Inya and Charlene and Chetta and Lips, we were just, what a wonderful show. And what a wonderful day to have it. We lucked out on that. So yeah, I need to make sure I pop that in there for you. Absolutely. I totally a ghost. No, I'm just kidding.
Real person or dead person?
That one was real. We're good. So, with that being said, David, now people know a little bit more who you are, and you're one of the tour guides for GOS. What are some of your fondest memories of doing that tour up to this point?
I think one of the first great memories was when we were touring the Dijonette Sanatorium, which we did for a few years until too many people broke in there. Somebody told me, hey, you know what? Dijonette's niece or grandniece or one of his relatives came on our tour, and they said, she's here. I was like, oh, crap, I'm getting sued. And here I am in front of about 150 people doing my thing. And afterwards, this young woman comes up to me. She's like, hi, so-and-so, Dijonette. And she's like, I just want to tell you thank you. And she said, my uncle was a blah, 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 blah. But she just bleeped out 1,000 words. I think that was an amazing thing that just happened. So right then and there, somebody who actually was in favor of uncovering some of the hidden history there was amazing, especially since she was related to the guy. That was one. Also, we had a tour a few years ago, and these two young women, they were both in the military, and the one says, you know, weird stuff happens all the time. And I said, you know what? I'm around psychotic people all the time too, so it happens. So we were joking around, and I've never felt anything weird like a cold spot before at the depot. And she said, you know, come down here. I got something to show you. And she pointed against the wall. And I walked right between the two of them. Sure enough, right between the two of them, it dropped about 20, 30 degrees. Now, I'm used to getting the cold shoulder from women, but it's like the literal cold shoulder was not fun. But so things like that, they don't happen all too often on the tours where I experience it in a big group. But when it does happen, it's amazing. It's really cool, and it reminds me of why we do this. And plenty of people will come to me afterwards and say, this happened. They share pictures, and they'll take pictures and say, here, look at this next to you or something else. Or they'll ask me about a certain building, about somebody who was living there. And that type of thing is really cool when it happens. Just weird sensations, weird feelings, hearing things in the parking garage, at Charlotte Kaufman's house. And again, just to hear, we have a lot of people come on a tour who stay at the Blackburn Inn, aka Western State Lunatic Asylum, and they say, can you please tell us what's happening in our rooms? And I do. And it's like, okay. And like most of them are like, cool. There's only one or two people have said, you know what the hell with this, and they run away. But but most people love it. So I think that to me is amazing, because they say, you know what, you have a few different jobs. Why do you do this? Why do you come out every weekend and do this tour? It's like, that's why, because I actually love connecting. I love hearing these stories. Love learning, because I'm constantly learning about what's going on in our world and beyond, and that will never get old.
Never. It's always changing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Always changing. Now, I'm not going to get too much into it because Dave's tour is amazing. And I'm going to tell you that. My first tour with GOS was with Dave. I had a magnificent night that night. I appreciate the fact that Dave encourages me, to help out when I'm there. If you've never taken this tour, you guys, you've got to go. You've really got to go. Rhonda, hopefully we can get her up there this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get her up there this year, I know one of the stories, I can't remember if it was, I don't think, maybe it was Charlie. Maybe Charlie. Charlie is one of the other tour guides. She was telling us about how at the Blackburn, when it first got converted to what it is now, how the doors one night just all suddenly locked on everybody. And I'm like, wow. Now,
wow.
You still with us, Dave?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking. I was letting you finish. Yeah, that happened. But the number one story that happens there is the showers turning on constantly, And again, for those who are really familiar with paranormal, water is one of the greatest conductors of electricity and energy. And for things to be the flooding and the caves underneath Stanton and everything else, whether that's something to do with it, who knows? But we've had at least 30 people or so, at least that many, who come on our tours over the last 3-4 years, who have told us, they say, you know what? One thing that happens, I don't know if it's a plumbing issue or something else, but my shower turns on once or twice a day. And what's going on with that? And it's like, okay. And we don't publicize that or anything. We don't put it on our page or anything else like that. People just come and they hear this stuff. So I think that is utterly fascinating. And so a lot of things happening in that place. Nothing negative, nothing malicious, just reactive things, whether it's just reacting to the people coming there or whatever else. But it is utterly fascinating that's the number one story we hear repeatedly.
And does it matter which room they stay in?
No, I thought so too. I thought maybe it might have been one of the rooms that had more where they operated on people, where they experimented on people. And that's what I was going with at first. But I've talked to people who stayed on the top floor, on the ends, on the first floor, which is underneath the ground, everything. And it didn't seem to matter. It just happens all over the place. And again, but if you're familiar with what happened there with the eugenics from 1906 to 1946 or so, I mean, all the people who met with tragedy over the time. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that it's all over the place because it's just massive. But again, it does not seem to be contained to any one floor or any one room or any one area. So.
With saying that, this gives us an opportunity to make sure that people understand. Desjardins is a no trespassing zone.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, if that place, if you go on the premises, you will be arrested. You will be taken away. Place is monitored by cameras 24/7. However, the Blackburn Inn, that area, you can visit that. You just stop by the front desk and say, "Hey, mind if I walk around?" You're fine. It's a great place to stay. Everything else, they have other things going on. They have condos there, apartments there, and that's more. You can at least walk around if you're respectful. But that's the key word. They're respectful there. But again,
I like that fact. I like they're like, yeah, go ahead. As long as you're respectful, you can actually walk that location. That's kind of cool, man.
It is, yeah. It's fascinating, and for me to walk around there on the grounds, just seeing what's going on, feeling what's going on there, and for me just walking through the story, my just pages of my story it never gets old. I feel like, okay, I'm in this chapter. It is wild, but then also to be hit with the horrific history that happened there on the same page there, it was just absolutely bonkers. So never gets old.
And that's actually kind of foretold in your book, Don't Fear the Reaper, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll let you give a little time. Well, Shayla Rickard is jumping in. She says, huge fan of Fear the Reaper. Has the Blackbird Inn ever entertained having you do an event there? Which is a good point.
First off, hi Shayla, how are you doing? Thank you for checking in, and thank you for reading the book. That means the world to me. Writers are such a weird group, and again, if somebody mentions something about our books, we feel like little kids here. So thank you. About them entertaining me, that would be 125% no. Just because the people who run the place, they don't like to publicize that it's haunted or it has an evil history or anything else like that. They like to kind of deny that. Mm-hmm. When it first opened, I used to place my books in like little nooks and libraries and little places like that, just as a thing. And the workers there were really in favor of it. They said, "This is really cool. Let's promote the history here." And I said, "Yeah, you took something awful and you turned it into something beautiful." The people who are running it right now, they're not so happy about that. And and again, every time we bring something up, they just kind of, poo-poo the whole idea. So I would love to do something in that. I've offered to do book talks there, talk about some of the old things and how it turned into how they really changed the narrative there, turned into something positive. But for right now, as opposed to some of the other places like the Lizzie Borden House or the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, everything else, who have actually marketed as well. For some reason, they haven't embraced this yet, but I'm holding out hope that they do turn it around.
Gotcha. Well, it's ironic. We just have one of your cohorts just popped in here. Miss Jessie is in the house.
Hey, Jesse, how you
Jess-
doing?
She is my second tour. So she's my second tour guide. I'm not going to tell you anything because if she returns, her and her husband are amazing. I love the interaction that they put into their effort in doing their tours too. So yeah, and that's the thing that some of the Virginians, you're not even Virginians around the world, and especially here in the United States, they don't know about the true dark side of America, more or less Virginia. And this is one of those cases where there's some really deep, dark stuff about Virginia that goes all the way pre-World War II.
Yeah.
Now, you guys, let me ask you both here. We're on a great conversation. Hey, Ryan Jones from the Freaking Awesome Paranormal Show is in the house. Maybe we can get Ryan do that tour too with us. We do a whole R.I.F. family factor there. We'll do that on the weekend. I'm sure all of y'all have seen in the news of all these tunnels and all of these cities below ground now that people are tending to pop up and they're finding, and they're like, look, we found that, I think, in Staunton, Virginia. And it's interesting to me because, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, and please do, but wasn't there tunnels from the hospital going into Staunton? Can you talk a little bit about that?
You're absolutely correct. And first, when we heard about it on the tour, and I thought, okay, let me dig a little deeper. And I thought it might have to do with Prohibition or the Underground Railroad or something else like that. But it was a whole lot simpler than that. From what I've heard from people who worked in the old hospital, they informed me that tunnels underneath asylums are a huge thing. And just it's easier for transports, are easy for a lot of things. And the original story from the tunnels is that before it was connected to eugenics, some of the wealthier patients, they wanted to shop downtown, see movies, see some plays, but they didn't want to walk out the front door of the asylum. So some of these tunnels gave them a nice little way to kind of walk incognito to downtown. So that was one. And then the other part is just even simpler for nurses and doctors in bad weather. If they live downtown in Beverly or some other areas, they can actually just travel to the hospital and back into different areas. So I've been in one tunnel which ran underneath the Masonic building there, and it went underneath the street and halfway through the bank. And that was open up until about 12 years ago. Then they finally locked it. And if you go inside the Freemason building, there's an actual sign on the door that says dungeon, and a little tongue in cheek there, but it's true. They locked that, so you can't go down the stairs. But we're talking an elaborate tunnel. It wasn't just some dugout hole. We're talking cross beams and everything else was done, lighting. So it was pretty extensive. But for those who don't know about Staunton, it's a pretty fragile state. The limestone caverns and water that runs through it make the whole town a pretty unstable place. So a lot of these tunnels have crumbled, and a lot of tunnels are not there anymore. And if they are, I would not advise anybody to go into them. I know I will not. Right.
Absolutely. Now, that's part of the tour that you get to hear. So I don't want to dive too much in that. I want people's mouth to get wet to go to the tour.
Yes.
That's one of the things you do here. Now, the one thing I will say, there is a legit underground river that comes up. So it's not always underground, but it goes right through the town. So we were talking about water earlier. Well, there's a legit river that runs right past Western State, goes into the town. And you get to hear the history about that as well, because something else is magnificent about that river. We don't know where it goes.
Yes. Yeah, they've thrown cameras in there. They've thrown dies and balls and maybe a child or two. Who knows? I'm kidding about that. I'd like to do that. Kidding. But things never pop up. And again, it's maybe it's because it's so deep and so vast. Maybe things do pop up somewhere, but nowhere where we're expecting them.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of really wild and a kind of interesting mystery about the town and the river, because where it starts, even before that have gone through different parts of Stanton, and it pops up in Waynesboro, Fisherville, some other areas there. But again, it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole, trying to find out where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say this. 2 years ago, we visited. Well, if I could talk tonight, I need some more sleep. We visited Natural Bridge.
Mhm.
And there is a spot at Natural Bridge that is a crescent fall. It's a very small one, not like the larger one that's down. But they give you an example. This is only one of multiple locations that objects have come from Staunton to that location. Here's the ironic part to this. I don't know, Dave, if you're aware of it, but they've caught objects both north and south of Staunton. It's not just south. And I'm finding that intriguing. Again, it's one of those how is that possible things. It's intriguing. I love it.
Yeah, it's wild, and I'm not trying to plug a book here, but
Please do plug away, Holmes.
We want you to. We want
That's
you
why we're
to.
here.
I'm not a book whore, but anyway, but there it is.
I am.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, like hey, maybe if it makes more sales, I could buy some cat food this week. No, one thing that's obviously why I'm into the paranormal to this stuff is because I've had some experiences in the past, but I've always been fascinated by two things. One was near-death experiences and what happens, and also cults, which it's a massive thing today. There are more cults around today than there have ever been. So, and in University of Virginia, they have the only parapsychology department on the East Coast that I'm aware of. And I was lucky enough to visit that over the summer, right before the book came out, even though I collaborated with some people beforehand. They study all this, so everything you're talking about, the electrical inputs, and outputs, the effects of water and electricity, positive, negative electricity. It's like visiting a set of Ghostbusters in a way, but without all the cheese. And it's fascinating, and it's just a bunch of nerdish doctors there who don't want any publicity. But again, I got to talk to the people for a couple of days about the near-death experiences there and how that can be amplified by the effects of water, of other things, traumatic events, and things like that, and how community input, it could be cultish behavior or stronger groups, whether it's positive or negative, can enhance that. So I was fascinated about it stuff. So I figured, okay, and like most of us, I'm fascinated by, okay, what happens in the after? Is there anything? If there's nothing, or if it is, what is it? And I figured, well, what if it's something that's like none of us have ever experienced before or thought of before? And I was intrigued. And there's a couple of cults right in Virginia, so I talked to them as well. I figured, let's take a deep dive. And I figured I had a near-death experience when I was 10, and it was pretty intense, even though I didn't understand it back then. So I figured, let's just go nuts with this. And then here I am living in a town in Virginia where it's incredibly active. So I figured it was a perfect time to write something. And of course, obviously, I haven't hit the New York Times bestseller, and I haven't been able to buy a Ferrari outside of my Hot Wheels. But again, that's not why we write. I mean, we don't write to make money. We write to tell stories. And it's just fascinating to visit that lab right here in Virginia, about 40 minutes away, to talk with people who've had similar experiences, and see who's more sensitive to this stuff and who's not, and to gather people who are together about this and study the experiences from across the world about this. So, and I find that that's a common theme with my writing, is diving into the unexplained and really trying to make sense of it.
So there you go. Kristen and Ashley, you may want to get in touch with David about your show. Have him on. I want to bring something else up too, because you brought it to the attention. Hey, Jonathan, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Jonathan from 47 Paranormal. So the place that you went and the subject that you're talking about right now,
Mhm.
for those who are not familiar, this is where the actual event of Flatliners actually took place at University of Virginia. Dr. Edwards, Dr. Johnson, and Dr. Williams, their students, did take part in this experiment, if you will. And the movie is based on true fact, folks, both the first one and the remake. And I actually liked both of those movies, Dave. I'm not gonna lie. I
I
think
did
that,
too. Yeah.
you know, uh,
Great.
you know, we need to get Rhonda some of your books. No, it's
I
my
just, just send me your address. I'll mail them down there. Yeah.
Okay.
see.
Will
There you
do.
go, Rhonda. We got your hookup.
Yeah.
Now, for those who don't know David, now I'm about to give out a little secret. A little secret. My turn to do a little promo. You can go to your local CVS. There is what is called the Ghost Tour Rack. You can get David's book right on those racks,
Yeah.
along with Pat's books and Susan Swartz. So, local authors, Virginia, we're selling, we're telling. Check out David's books. I'm telling you, it's worth it because you're not just into the paranormal, right?
I'm into quite a bit. So
Homeboy is a musician.
yeah.
Yeah, am I correct in understanding that you still have your own band?
Yeah, it's a bit of on a hiatus right now, just because of some events. But I've been part of a band of writers since 2006. I am the least famous person in the band, obviously, but we perform for charity for literacy all over the country and in England. People like Heather Graham, David Morrell, the guy who created the Rambo character, F. Paul Wilson, who one of my favorite writers. We've got to play everywhere. Now, I didn't say we're good. We're not, but it's a lot of fun. So, hey.
But you are a good guitarist, bro.
Well, I've been playing since I was 9, so if I'm not decent by now, there's something wrong with me. Yeah, there's a lot wrong with me, but still. But yeah, but I love doing it, and hopefully we'll be playing an event sometimes very soon. So I would love to do that.
Excellent, excellent. Now, this last book that you have written, I guess we're leading into the NDE on that book. Is that
Yes,
correct?
heavily.
And how now? You're here for a reason, man. We got to get that book out.
Yeah.
What? Now you said you went to UVA and spoke to the department. I'm sure you spoke to some of the research doctors and psychologists and sociologists there. And you said you also have spoken to some occults here in Virginia?
Yes. The one that I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, the Sachamund, the one that's in outside of Charlottesville.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. And there's another one that's a smaller one within the town of Charlottesville that's going there. And I briefly just through talking, I went to see what were things like. And I've heard a lot of stories in Staunton about people who have been both positive and negative about how they operate and what their goals are. And to me, it didn't seem anything negative. It just, again, more of that communal living and just trying to promote positive energy things. But again, I've heard with any type of situation like that, you're going to hear lots of both the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. So, but it really intrigued me to say, okay, let's go on here and studying cults with I have a couple of degrees in psychology, so it's always fascinating to me what drives somebody to do that, how, why, and everything else. So hearing from them, hearing some of the mindset and the collective thinking there is fascinating, and see what would drive them to go on a deep dark dive or deep light drive to see why they would do this and what are their beliefs and how and what's the ultimate spiritual goal for them. So the one in this novel is not based on those guys. I just want to, clear that up. But again, it's so just to be fascinated by what drives people like that. What drives people to go into a cult and stay there, and the normal ones, the abnormal ones, and everything else. And talking to the researchers at UVA, and shed some light on it too. So it's again, a lot of it is just the fascination with what comes next. So that was kind of driving force behind the novel.
I opened the door for her for a reason. Rhonda, you practice shamanism.
I do.
And that's why I was like, well, I'm going to open the door. Let's let them talk. I'm going to sit back a little bit and see what the chit chat was going to be about in chitter chatter if you felt like it. So, David, yes, Rhonda is a practicing. What's the best way you put it, Rhonda? I don't
A shamanic practitioner.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, and you were talking about deep journeys. I'm like, getting you two together is a perfect opportunity to talk about this a little bit and shed the light on things. So people that are watching can get a really good grasp and understanding why the book and some of the interesting things about shamanism.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Shamanism is basically a lot about just meditation and spiritual living and believing that we are all one. Everything is alive. Everything is, kind of coincides. But what we talk about in shamanism for a journey is basically meditation. It's just a different way to meditate. So I don't know if that's what they do there. It sounds like it depends on where you're at and what the gambit is of what they do there and what their belief system is there. So I guess it could be either or. I mean, that could be something they practice within, their belief system, or it could not. I see why they get such a negative spin, but I can also see where there's probably some positive reasons to it. I mean, a lot of us, just the people, like, even jokingly will say to our closest friends, hey, let's go get a big plot of land and all build a commune and live there together. And
Yogieville.
Yeah, that's kind of probably what some of them have done. They've just said, hey, we all get along, we all believe, let's all help each other, So what did you find is one of the big reasons people want to be in a cult?
Well, it's a multi-pronged answer, just from things I've read about, talked to people. One is just disillusionment with whether their families, their schools, their community, never feeling like they actually connected with somebody. That could be one. The spiritual aspect of it, maybe they're, again, I'm not, crapping on anybody's religion here, but I'm saying maybe they're not finding what they want in type of organized, setting. So they're looking for like-mindedness. The things they do have a quest for a higher power. They want to seek it out. And if somebody says, hey, you know what, come study with us, come learn with us, it's, many people find it's worthy of giving it a shot. So, I mean, again, there are some healthy reasons for it, and there are some unhealthy predators out there. But I think a lot of people
I like the way you said that.
What?
I like the way you just said that.
Yeah, it's
you're putting the truth out there. There are people that will use it to their advantage to manipulate and be deceitful.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, some of the cults that are out there today, we don't hear about because they're on the up and up with things, and they try to actually better people. But the ones we do hear about are all the notorious ones. And again, driving up the price of Kool-Aid and everything else.
I mean to laugh, but I know where you're coming from.
I know. I'm sorry. My sarcasm is going to bleed out all the time. Cannot stop that. I'm originally from New Jersey. That's part of our DNA. It's fascinating though, just to hear why they like to do this. But again, some of the common goals that I've read about and I've talked to people about is like to find what happens. Like they really want to find that goal of oneness with the universe or higher power or something. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's, most of us are trying to find the answer, like what comes next. And then, so, I mean, you can't fault anybody for that. And I only fault the people who are trying to take advantage of them.
Did you find that maybe the more negative cults are the ones that have that, once you're in, it's hard to get out of it? Or are most open to, if you're just not happy with here, you're free to go?
Yeah, yeah, yes and yes. I mean, I'm probably going to explain it wrong, but just call me out if I'm saying something. I don't mind if you interrupt me at all. I'm a teacher, so I'm used to getting interrupted all the time. Um, but so the one downside, I think, is not so much the brainwashing, because again, that's a loaded term there. I think a lot of times people just say, "Hey, here's our teachings, take it or leave it." Where the negative side is, they might come in, it's almost like a boot camp and say, here, let us deprive you of sleep, some food, some other things, and put you in you're talking about meditation, a highly suggestive state, which can be really detrimental. And you think that's when the hooks can be put into you. It's like, okay, well, here you're in, and now and then a lot of times they'll say, you know what, if you really want to be one with nature, with the universe, you don't need your worldly possessions. Please sell your house, get rid of your savings, everything else like that. And once people do that, they're like, oh crap, I have nowhere else to go. And that's the part that gives everything a horrible name, and in most cases, rightly so. But I mean, yeah, I found some other ones where it's just kind of like, here's your side life, and then just go in there. But I think as soon as you asking people to give up everything they have to you, then I mean, that's not a red flag. That's like a red grenade there.
Yes.
Well, Chris is in the house. Chris Roden is in the house, and she's got a good question, I have to say. And Dave, if you want me to follow up behind you on this one, or Rhonda, you want to follow up behind this one, I've got to ask this because let's get that in there. Can you explain the psychology behind smelling things that remind you of someone after they have passed?
Yeah, I can take this quickly, just because one thing, we're going into something in the class I'm teaching now is that's fascinating, about hypnosis and some meditation training. So our senses are really fine tuned, and I tell people it's on a ghost tours a lot. I said most people don't see things. They won't see a full fledged ghost. They will hear something. They will smell something. They will feel something. Our senses are so in tune to nature and whatever else that we don't think much about the other modalities of our senses. However, this is why when we hear a song from like our childhood, it could bring back a whole flood of memories, like what you did, what you ate, what you smelled, everything else like that. And the more long-term memory is committed to our brains, it usually is indicative of like how many senses were there. So say, for example, how he had a great experience with a family member. He was eating ice cream, doing this. He was out there in the summer, something else like that. And then if later on, after that person passed years later, he smells something and that brings him back to the moment, it could be anywhere from
10 minutes, baby.
just a memory to residual energy from that person, whether it's emanating from Howie or whether it's from the other person, or it could just be just a weak intrusion of something that we don't know. And I'm guessing on that part, but again, most times people will not see things, but the smelling, which is, thank you for bringing that question up. Smelling, tasting, hearing, those senses will come up a whole lot more, and it can often be much stronger and much more triggering than anything else.
Based on the structure of that question, I'm not going to go any further. I think that was well said, David. That you put it right on the spot there.
Thank you.
Rhonda, you got anything you want to add to that?
I mean, just from a spiritual side of it, there's clairalience, I think is how they say it, which is just clear smelling. And it could be that is one of your sensory gifts that open up because it's someone, you were close with that passed. Maybe that's just your way of recognizing their spirit still being around. It could be your connection.
That's both of those are amazing answers right there.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like following up now. No, I'm just kidding. Well, that's 3 points. You know what? Let's do the triad. I mean, you two just gave 2 amazing points. Now, I learned this from someone in the medical field who's now part of the paranormal field, the paranormal medic himself, Chris Bellisoon. He taught me this when I was getting deeper into para-research and parapsychology.
Mhm.
Every day, the human brain is having what we call minor seizures. It is the lack of communication between the synapses. The synapses are misfiring, which leads us to open memories. Again, kind of like what they were both saying, it will trigger these memories. And these memories come in versions of smelling, touch, feel, hearing. Majority of this sensory is by the smell. So it's nothing dangerous. We all have minor seizures every day. It's merely the misfiring of the synapses, get it on the left or right hemisphere, triggering a response. So there's your three. We gave you three tonight. Look,
Yeah.
y'all, you
Yeah,
got the
no,
triad.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go down a rabbit hole tonight because that just gets me thinking about those that are, because I've always said, I believe everybody can connect in and
Mhm.
and communicate with spirit. It makes me wonder if those that find it easy, if it's something about their brain synapses and those gaps and things you're talking about.
There you go.
Yeah, and just sorry.
No, go ahead, brother.
Okay, dude. Well, just one thing to add to that, since both of you guys triggered some of my own thoughts on the stuff that I've read about, how certain people are just connecting through dreams or something else. And I've been trained in lucid dreaming, and I've teach my students how to lucid dream, which is really fascinating. And from meditation, some other things. There are some techniques, there are some situations that can help you along the way, from different environments, different temperatures, different settings. I know, but for dream settings, there are some foods, there's some other things, supplements that can actually help you. So what Howie was saying about the misfiring of synapses, there are other things to actually help the firing too, whether it's environmental things or something you ingest or whatever else. It's
Jen.
wild. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to dive too much into it because you're
yeah.
right. I'll tell you what, you want to know the number one food for nighttime issue? For some people are like, well, I don't do that, but you don't realize it. Dairy and potato chips. Milk and potato chips create a drug for humans. That's why if you do it at night, you either are going to have an interesting dream, nightmare, or you are going to actually sleep better, but in the long run, it's not healthy. But this is an actual factor that milk and potato chips actually mixed together will help you sleep at night, but it's not healthy. It's a drug. It turns out I forgot the two names of the drugs that come together that's in the potato and in milk. So it's interesting. Thought I'd share that a little bit.
Fascinating.
Chris hits up. Pepper reminded me of my grandmother and the candle my mother never lit that smelled so good. My mom recently passed, and I had forgotten about the significance of both of these. Ed, I am, oh God, schizophrenic. Okay, gotcha. I can never say that word, so don't take that wrong. Okay, well, you know what? Don't feel bad because there's 3/4 of the population is. They just don't know it. It's truth. That's fact. And not to high degrees, you guys. Just saying. Dave could speak better on that. I will not speak on that field.
Oh yeah, no, we do a survey every year in my class, and I think before COVID, it was there's something about at least 1/3 of us in the country would experience some type of mental illness in our life. I know I have, and I think post COVID, I've talked to some therapists. They say it's closer to in the mid 40s right now. So yeah, I think we're all on some type of the spectrum of different mental disorders here, and I think anybody who thinks they're not is just denying some things.
Well said. Well said, brother. We got a couple more minutes. It's another one of those shows. Yeah. I'd like to get you to come back this year if we could get you to come back.
Like I would ever say no to that.
All right, cool. Because we definitely do some more hanging out. Because I know this next time we're going to do I'm getting to the point where we're just going to throw this show back to 2 hours. It's getting crazy, and the people have on this. It's such amazing times. It's never enough time. Let's do that real quick. Let's get your books back out.
Mhm.
And like I said before, folks, CVS.
Pierce the veil, rather. It's not
Pierce
just
the veil.
it's not just a metal band. It's a book. But yeah, and next time I'll be able to talk to you about my book on cryptids that should be out by the summer.
I'm looking
By
forward
the
to
summer, awesome.
Yeah, so we'll
Oh,
yeah.
we get some promo in. That's right. Look for that book and look for Don't Fear the Reaper in your local CVS if you're a Virginian. It's going to be there in your racks. Also, check out Ghosts of Staunton, Virginia.
Mhm.
And David, get on David's tour.
Mhm.
Not putting anybody down. Jesse, don't you beat on me. But everybody, all of the tour guides are amazing. It is an amazing tour, depending on which tour you take as well. Okay, so wait. Now I get hyper a little bit. So we went on Rachel's tour, Dave. We got to go to the house. Check this out. Look what I got. You know where that's from, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes, sir. So the tale at the end of visiting back in the day is you would get a little bit of lace and they would tie it around your wrist. David, you want to tell them about that? Do you?
I'll let you do this one. Yeah.
Okay. They tie a lace around your wrist and it helps, said, to protect you from travelers, ghostly type, and bad things happening when you leave the residence. Did I say that correct, Dave?
Yes.
What I did is I enhanced it right into the brim of the top hat. So this is with me all the time now. Rachel put this on my wrist and she gave Sarah one. Sarah has hers. And I was like, you know what? A little bit of everything's incorporated into the notorious top hat. So it was added to it. This is a wondrous house. It's magnificent. I'll tell you what, I love the owners. I love the owners. Do you want to talk about the house real quick? Maybe get people's minds?
No, it's amazing. It's a beautiful house, the Charlotte Kaufman house, which is probably everybody says, hey, this is the most haunted house in the valley and things like that. No, this actually is. It's one of the most active houses, period. And there are a lot of people who have had positive experiences, some negative experience. It's a little too claustrophobic for me to go in there just because what I feel energy wise, but it's crazy. And then these two wondrous people, they bought the house just for this, mostly for the sake of giving tours there. I mean, that's just amazing to me. They spent about $500,000 to do this, which is mind-boggling to me in a wondrous way. It's so cool. They're amazing, and the tours are amazing. But then again, I know I'm biased, but we don't have a bad tour because we don't put on the theater and everything else. We just like to tell the stories and let the stories be our guides. So, that place is phenomenal.
Absolutely amazing. If you take the tour, you get a chance to hear about some of the hotels, some of the other structures, some of the interesting stories of Staunton and the train depot too, because there's some really wild stories about the depot. Now, did I hear right that they're blocking the depot off, or is that a rumor?
It's a rumor. Now they want to. They might be fixing some things up, but no, they have to because it's an active train station. They're not closing down the Amtrak part of it, but it might be short term. I know they're fixing the bridge. They have shut down parts of it to the right side of it, just for cleanups and some other things. But honestly, I mean, hey, anything can happen. It's Staunton. Staunton's a weird town, wild town, cool town, but anything can happen anytime. So, but I think as long as there's an active Amtrak train going through there, it'll be fine, at least for now.
We're gonna have to kidnap Rhonda on a weekend and take her if she likes it or not. We're gonna duct tape her hands. You're going. Get in the trunk. Yeah, absolutely. And the tours are all season long. You guys check it out. Hook up with Dave. Get his books. It is well worth the money. And I'll tell you what, for the most amazing tour you get, the price for this tour, shoot, you'll never find it. You won't find a better tour for the price anywhere. I hate to do it, but maybe I'm being biased because they're a little bit of a sponsorship, but hey, it's true. It's true.
No, it is one of the cheapest tours in Virginia, bar none. I mean, it's amazing how affordable it is, and I'm not just saying that because I'm doing it, but it's wild. And also, just as a cheap little plug here too, I mean, just if anybody does read the books or want to talk more about some of the stuff about Stanton, just please hit me up on social media or my website. I never get tired of talking to people, so I'm pretty open. So
now, with that being said, where can people find you at, Dave?
you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, on my website, which is davidsimsmuse.com, muse.com. Again, just I have people reaching out from all over the place constantly, and it's never an invasion. Everything I love hearing from people, whether it's stories about the paranormal, whether about the story I write, just do it. I mean, again, I work with teenagers for a living. It's like, I mean, so it's like I'm hearing I'm getting a million questions per day, so and never mind it. So,
yeah. So, travelers and those like, thank you so much for tuning in tonight to this special show with author David Sims, a friend of ours, definitely a good friend of mine. I'm honored to be able to call him a friend of mine. You get your chance right here, Dark Muse. Check out The Curse of the Barons. And that's right. Feel the Reaper right there, bringing it out you. Also, get ready. Next Sunday, we will be speaking with the man of the radio himself. Les Durant will be coming to the show and talking his thoughts and opinions and insight about the ufology and maybe some things going on. Speaking of which, no, I've got to ask this question. Dave. As we were talking, sorry, y'all, we're going over a little bit. I thought about the tunnels. Do you think there's a possibility that these tunnels might have been created pre-existing, say maybe Civil War, maybe for the Masons?
That was my original thought. So I love thinking like that. And why wouldn't they? I mean, there are tunnels all around the world that go back thousands of years. So why not? I mean, we had tons of Native Americans in the area, Monacans, some others who we have the mound builders everywhere. So, I mean, it would be ignorant to not think about the possibilities of this. So, anyway, so that's what I love about your mind is you go deep all the time, which is awesome. We need more of that. So yeah,
I get triggered, man. It triggers. Damn synapses. Full circle. Full circle.
Okay, but I will keep the milk away from you though, so we're good.
There it is. Travelers and those alike, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Orion Effect right here on the Rift Nation Network, brought to you by GOS and Hargrave Military Academy. Stay tuned throughout the week and get ready for uncharted journeys coming to take you special places. Dave, thank you so much. Travelers, continue to help each other. Let's help each other get through the week, through the month, and through this year. Virtue be yours.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Brother. We will see you all on the other side.